Hey everybody, welcome to the Soul Food Priest podcast, and I'm Father Ben. It's great to have you. I'm here with Silvia Vega and Khira Roddy. Hey guys.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you guys doing?
We're great.
Yeah, we're looking all festive today.
We are. We're more into the winter, fall-y. Well, no, winter. It's starting to feel wintry.
Yeah, people have asked us if we have like a makeup artist and a fashionista, and I'm like, I don't know if they could do anything with this thing that we call Father Ben, but it would be, I don't even know, how would a makeup artist handle this? It's like Buddha's belly.
I thought you had a makeup person help you. I mean, you look great every day.
Really?
Nice and shiny, and here we go, ready to go. Like you got a polisher, and you got, you're always, he does always smell good.
Well, it's always, let's just say I'm kind of like Captain Clueless with regards to this. I mean, truly, a lot of times I'll be shaving in the morning right here, like trying to get my beard to where it looks somewhat presentable. And depending on how half awake I am, like there's this big chunk that comes, and I'm like, dude. And then you start taking off more, so it's even, and you get to a point you're just like, just stop, dude, just stop.
That's what happens with women and their eyebrows. Because if you get one that's just like you're not supposed to pluck, you just got to keep going. Yeah. Then you just look like a chola from L.A. Like one of those gangster Mexican people from L.A. And it'll be like, my name will change from Silvia to like, I don't know, the shorty or something.
I learned the whole, like, I'm going to say it wrong. Is it plucking?
Yes.
Eyebrow So I learned that from watching My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, she says, a big one. It's a big one, right? And I was like, oh, is that how that happens?
Yep.
Okay.
Nowadays, there's so many different things.
We did not learn that in the seminary.
No.
Okay.
But you look great, Father.
Yeah. Really? Okay.
You look great. Your birthday's coming up. The holidays are coming up. So you're looking great.
Teeth come out. So speaking of holidays, I was thinking about this. Do you ever make Christmas cookies with your kids?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So when you do it, what do you usually like? Which ones do you make?
So growing up, we used to make aniseed cookies.
Oh, okay.
Like my grandmother did, and so that was
what?
Like aniseed, like licorice kind of flavor.
Like a licorice. Okay.
Yeah.
Italian cookie, kind of like a biscotti. It would taste like a biscotti.
It's kind of like fennel.
Okay.
And so that's what I was raised on, and it was just this beautiful, just memory that I would have when we go to my grandmother's house. You put the dough out and cookie cutters and all of that. So that was always wonderful. But then my kids don't like aniseed. And I was like, what?
Yeah,
well,
that's definitely an acquired taste.
It is. And so then I'm like, how do you transfer now, like to some other cookie where you get similar things? So we do gingerbread, and they like that. And they like it, which I'm like, guys, like this has a ton more spice and flavor to it than an aniseed cookie, but so they prefer that. Everybody loves it, so we do gingerbread cookies.
That's cool.
Yeah. Well, growing up, we didn't do cookies. We again, I've told the viewers all this. I'm Mexican, so we just grew up making tamales. But
what?
It would be like a bunch, like 20 people get together.
Stop.
This is like a week before Christmas. Like, no joke. So there was no cookie. So little Silvia was like sitting there like hard labor, like making tamales.
Wait. I mean, I have to interrupt you, Silvia. How did you guys go from making Christmas cookies to making tamales?
There was no Christmas cookies in my household growing up.
You only made tamales.
But let me let you know that has stopped with my generation. We will no longer make tamales in the Vega household.
Oh, yeah?
We will make cookies.
Okay, good.
But see, we are very lucky to have Father Ben give us all this amazing cookie dough all the time. So my kids, last year, we did sugar cookies and we had the shapes and just made it fun. It's a mess, but it's fun. But this year, we still have a lot of cookie dough because you just fill our...
Do you guys still have cookie dough?
Yes. Well, last time we told you we still had some and you gave us more.
Okay.
Emma has taken over the cookie making.
Oh.
So this year, I think...
This gives me hope for the next generation.
Yes. So this year, we will make Father Ben's cookie dough cookies.
Oh.
Sweet.
There you go.
Sweet. Okay, that makes me happy. You'll be happy to know that I made last week about 75 pounds of Christmas cookie dough.
Ooh.
And so I have extra to give you.
Okay.
Have you guys ever heard?
What makes it Christmas cookie dough?
So it's basically you've heard me talk about 3-2-1 dough. Mm-hmm. So 3 pounds of flour, 2 pounds of butter, 1 pound of sugar. So it's very similar. And then I add some vanilla to it. But it makes I don't like Christmas cookie dough that puffs up.
Okay.
I want it to stay the exact same shape when you take it out because it's easier to work with.
Yeah.
And most people like that buttery shortbread thing.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever heard of Pfeffernuss?
Nope.
No.
So in German, it means literally pepper and nuts because they used to actually put in their Christmas cookies in Germany black pepper. Have you ever had black pepper shortbread?
No.
It sounds really weird, but it's actually really, really good.
Yeah, like dip it in oil or something. I don't know.
Yeah, so it's got icing, but it's got black pepper in it.
Like sugary.
So it's sweet. It's sweet, but it actually has it's sweet and spicy at the same time. And then they have this stuff in Germany called Lebkuchen. So Lebkuchen is kind of similar. So this is...
You're losing me, Father.
I know. Sorry. So this is how Christmas cookies kind of evolved. And it was like 1930-ish. That's when, around the Great Depression time, that's when families are able to get... Christmas cookie cutters, right?
Okay.
And then, of course, during World War II, that all went because they were saving everything. And but then after World War II, people started making Christmas cookies a lot. And so it's kind of cool to see how it's evolved, right? I've got these Christmas cookie cutters that are like, I have some at home that are about a foot tall. So it's cool to make like a Christmas tree or bell or Santa that's about that big.
Do you eat those or are they just decoration?
Well, yeah, both.
Okay.
Both, yeah. But it's fun. Kids like it because for a kid, that's huge.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's fun to kind of let them decorate it.
That's fun.
Yeah, Amazon. And so it's kind of neat to see. One of the things I love about doing Christmas cookies, and we have gotten our whole staff together and did Christmas cookie decorating, which was a lot of fun.
Do good if you remember.
Yours was fine. Look, if I remember thinking if we dim the lights, it looks really good.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'll stick to singing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
I missed that
good.
day, but I would have been like all.
Who won that day?
My sister.
That's right.
Yeah, she won. Yeah, she won.
Sure did.
Yeah.
St. Nicholas, I think she made. Yeah.
One of the things I love about Christmas cookies, though, is you're creating a memory especially with kids, right? Yeah. And that's really important, especially at the holidays, at Christmas, because sometimes, let's be honest, for a lot of families, Christmas is immensely stressful.
It is.
It's beautiful and it's a season. For Catholics, is the Advent season, Adventus, this preparation for Christmas, that would really technically go up until Epiphany. But for a lot of people, it's immensely stressful, not only emotionally because maybe they've lost someone, but then also because they're like, oh my gosh, so-and-so's coming in town, I have to do this. Let's be honest, a lot of times companies do cutbacks right after Christmas. They don't want to do it. So people are like nervous about that kind of thing. Yeah. So any number of things. How do we handle this?
Economic stress. 100%. And they're being great kids and you want to get them stuff. And then, there's just so many things that you can add during the holidays.
And now when most things that they want are electronic and incredibly expensive. And how do you... And then they have friends who...
Yeah.
Very stressful.
I mean, that would be stressful for me. Like, for instance, probably every other week, a parent will ask me, Father, when do we give our child a cell phone? And I'm like, okay, says the celibate man. I'm like, I can't answer that question for you. That's something you guys have to pray about and think about. Yeah. But I said, my humble suggestion there is that you talk to them about how to use it responsibly and stuff like that. And but I mean, it kind of begs the question, like with stress at Christmas time, how do we handle crisis moments? Like how to, especially at Christmas, like let's say, for instance, that our brother-in-law comes over and he always gets drunk or whatever. And
there's always that one person.
There's that one dude. And so, like, I mean, how do we handle these crisis moments? I mean, and I don't want to put you guys on the spot, but I just want to, like, if you have any suggestions for our viewers and listeners on that, like, what would you think?
I mean, I guess personally, there's always either a family member or a friend that is coming for the holidays, or you're going to see at a friend's house that is always poking, and you're like, what do I do? I think that number one, if you know you're not going to be okay and you can't handle it, do you really need to be in that place? Right. Number one,
right?
Is it worth your happiness, the moment that you're if you're gonna go with your partner, if you're going to family, is it worth it? Number two, if you think yes, it's worth it, I really want to be there, finding, I guess, a middle ground of not letting them get to you, but also setting a boundary. I think we've talked about this before, Father, where we've said you have to have that conversation. I've always told whenever someone comes to me for advice, and I try to take this advice myself, if you do not speak of what is bothering you, let's say, Father, that you're doing something that bothers me, if I don't let you know ever, how will you know to change that? So you always have to have that uncomfortable conversation. But I mean, I guess number one, should you really be there? Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Two, if it really is, what can I do about it? Because I can't change the other person. I can't change the other person. I mean, it's just my personal humble opinion.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, no, I think that whole idea of boundaries is good, and something I've definitely learned from you, Father. If it's so important for you and your spouse too, to kind of know what are our limitations, and to where we're both happy. To make sure, to ensure that we're happy, that the family it doesn't get chaotic. We don't, and let's be on the same page. Almost like, before we get into this, let's have a game plan. Yeah. If we know this person's going to be there, then you take that person and I'll do this over here. Yeah. Or if this starts to escalate to this level, that's going to be the time we have to bow out for the sake of the kids. Yeah. Or we have to plan two separate events. Yeah. Just to separate things, or
and that's okay. Yeah. I think that's okay.
100%. I think that's brilliant. I mean, as they would say, begin with the end in mind. Yeah. So that I always say, kind of a paraphrase of that, we want to be prudent without being paranoid, like not build it up in our head and this is how I'm going to respond. But if this drops in our lap at the Christmas season, this will be the break glass option. Yeah. I mean, this is how we're going to handle this, which is, I mean, it's really funny. I love talking to couples about, like, when they go to dinner parties, they've come up with codes on how to get out.
If I say the eagle has landed, that means we gotta go.
Yeah, it's a third base coach sign, right? Yeah. And so, like, I mean, for me, if I'm going to a party that I don't really want to be at, I don't wear deodorant. And they're like, there's the door, Father. Go, just leave. And it makes it pretty easy. And so, but there's...
I cannot picture that.
Oh, yeah. Subtlety. Yeah, but it is really, I think it's kind of good to think about how are we gonna handle that, because it's, people do, I think a lot of times they're not even aware that they can constantly be in such a crisis mode that they can't relax.
Yeah.
And that's not good, right? Because then our spouse picks up on our children. And again, plenty of clergy have fallen into this. I myself have. And that's not good, right? Because you can't be happy that way. I mean, they call it, very briefly, EMTs and policemen will often they have the thing, they call it the survival arc. So if you've never heard of the survival arc, it's 3 Ds: denial, deliberation, decision. So that would happen. So for instance, if you were T-boned going through an intersection and you're not sure what time it is, what's my name, and that's why they would say, who's the president, what's your birthday, kind of thing. So denial would be, this cannot be happening, this cannot be happening, this, right? It happens a lot when our children are in danger, right? So they go from denial to deliberation. This is happening.
Yeah.
Okay, take a deep breath, talk to people I trust. All right, this is what we can do. This is option A, option B, decision, attack.
Yeah.
Right, so some people can work through those instantaneously in trauma situations, and some people weeks, months.
Yeah.
So it's good, to your point, Khira, of having a plan of attack, and if this happens, if then blank.
Yeah.
Right.
It's interesting too, because we'll even work with some engaged couples, and sometimes we'll kind of open it up to questions. We'll have a panel of people who have been married so many years, and with all different varieties of issues and everything. And we'll even have engaged couples say, how do you handle the holidays?
Oh, yeah.
Like they're already starting to see red flags. Because you already start to see that when you're planning a wedding. A lot of those things start to bubble up, And so then they're like, oh my goodness, what are the holidays going to be like? And that's what we've just had to tell them. Sometimes you just have to make the decisions based on each other and your marriage and what works for your family. It's no offense to extended family or anything like that, but I think that's something that we also forget is so many people now Christmas decorations are going up right after Halloween.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's so beautiful. We're in the Catholic Church where we celebrate Christmas for over a month, but it's just on the other side.
Right, yeah.
Christmas Day is day one of the Christmas season, rather it being November 1st, that's a whole other feast day.
Yeah.
But so if we say no, we can't spend the 25th with you, but hey, it's the octave of Christmas, so the 26th, 27th, 28th is just as important as the 25th.
Right.
So that's the mentality we have, to where it's just 8 days are like one day.
Yeah.
So if we have to split it up, express that to family members who sometimes might not understand, and be like, no, this isn't a secular way of thinking that on the 26th everything goes down. We're still
trying to
celebrating.
keep everybody happy.
I was just going to ask on that point, because I feel that sometimes, especially maybe newer married couples or a young family with new grandkids that are added to the family, how do you choose this year we're going to be with this family? But that's a great way. I was just going to ask that, but you answered it right as I was thinking it. It's okay, because Christmas is, yes, we celebrate it one day, but we can remember it for a long time. And Christmas season does last longer than just that one day. And it's okay to explain to your family maybe that way. And hey, you're going to have me this Christmas season, maybe not that day.
Right.
But can it be a problem maybe for married couples to come to that conclusion?
Yeah, I mean, it's yes, and I could bore you guys to tears on that, but I think often, and I'm being grossly general when I say this, but I think what happens with younger priests and with younger couples, I think, is that it's my job to make everyone happy. And it's really a misunderstanding of what St. Paul says, I have to become all things to all people. He's not saying that you that we have to make everyone happy. That's impossible.
Right.
But having an understanding, like generally as younger people get, the younger people are, they want to make everyone happy, and that's impossible.
Yeah.
The challenge when we get older is the exact opposite, where we're so jaded and where we're people can't work with us.
Yeah.
So we're looking for, they would say, a via media, a healthy balance there. I'm sorry that you feel that way. We can't do everything. God bless you.
Yeah.
And the good thing is it gets easier.
Yeah.
This time.
Yeah, the interesting thing about that too is so we lived in North Carolina for like 22 months. And and so we decided we're not going to make the drive to Memphis, about 10 and a half, 11 hours. We're not going to make that drive for Thanksgiving. And so it was one of my first holidays, not with extended family, not with, my parents and sister, And it was just us. And I was so sad about it and everything. But we busted out the china. And I had never used my china. It was 10 years. We had been married for over 10 years.
That's awesome.
And had never taken the stickers off of our china, taken it out of the boxes, out of the containers. It had literally just sat in boxes.
And your kids were like, Mom, is the Pope coming to dinner or something?
So
right?
we took out the china and we set it up. And they loved it. And then their whole demeanor changed. And it's become a tradition for us now that when we do have these major holidays, I use the china. The china comes out. And then it's like they're all like, ooh. And so they're like best behavior, And I'm like, would that have happened? Would have taken the china out had we not have made that decision? Probably not, because we would be somewhere else. So it was fun to make our own memory, make our own kind of tradition.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, and so it was hard. It is hard to make those changes, but then you can figure out something that makes it new and
something good comes out of it.
Yeah.
In the Catholic world, we often joke here in the parish that the first time you do something in a parish, people think, oh, that's neat. The second time you do it, they say, oh, I'll remember that from the first year. But the third time, you've created a tradition. And so it takes a few years to do it. Those are great insights. I'm totally going to steal that stuff for sermons. That's awesome. And I'm not going to give you credit either.
Okay, perfect. We'll say it's all you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just, guys, don't tell anybody. It was us.
Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to put soul in your food and give food to your soul. God bless you.